So I don't know if you've heard me mention it before, but I hate PvP. I hate playing PvP. I hate that you have to use your best deck, whatever that is, and that's the only thing you can play, because if you use anything else, you'll lose. I hate the idea that, like, as seasons progress, it's just going to get harder because more and more people are going to have better and better things. And so whatever you did last season, you're probably going to do a little bit worse this season, and so forth, unless you continuously, just feed into this game. I was at 52-21, which is how close that is. And all I really wanted was this chest. This chest, in the beginning part of my journey, was the easiest thing to get to. I have max stuff. I have really high level crit. I have a max everything, right? But I hate playing PvP so much that I basically had to win 5 or 6 games in a row against very difficult people, playing Blooming Dash Blade Dancer, because everybody is attempting to not play PvP because it makes your game harder, and that is the thing now. So even in really early stages of this game, you'll just be playing against max decks everywhere. Even within this, I'm not going to show this game because it doesn't matter. I played against a level 20 Necromancer, max equipment, max mage robes, a level 11 equipment item, max cultist, max shaman, max witch. These are the people I'm facing. Max Harlequin, max summoner. These are the people I'm playing. And I have to play against just very difficult people in League 4. And I'm actively trying to progress through League 4. And I just want to get this. I just want to get a legendary. That's it. And so even in not playing, so the original strategy was don't play PvP because you'll face against harder and harder opponents. Now it's just, you'll just face harder and harder opponents all the time. All the time. Just, you'll face hard opponents here. You'll face hard opponents here. It's just that. That's become what my PvP has become. That's what my PvP has become. It's just become I'm just facing against max decks all the time. And so I got myself to 52-21. And I didn't want to spend another 40-minute match with Blooming Dash Blade Dancer, getting to triple bosses, getting to 2 billion damage. And so I just wanted an easy win. And let me tell you, there's no such things as easy wins in this game. So I play against this deck, and I decide to build a Robot Shaman. I mistakenly put in Mermaid in my first battle, but I feel like I have a reasonably good robot. It's a 13 robot. It's not a 15. But I feel like a 13 robot does the job. It just doesn't push damage, and you're not supposed to theoretically push damage. You're just supposed to lock them out early game with Snowflake, Shaman, Robot, Sharpshooter. I don't think I ran Sharpshooter in my first game. I think I was running Mime. So a couple of things were wrong, but I was running Mime. So essentially, I'm playing against Dark Inquisitor, and I thought that this was going to be easy. I thought this was going to be reasonably easy. I didn't like the fact that I accidentally left Mermaid in, and I didn't use Sharpshooter. But this was my original build. I was just going to run this. I decided to switch out Mermaid for Snowflake. Oh, that's what I meant. I was running Mermaid instead of Snowflake. I trust that you guys understood that. So I threw in Sharpshooter because I had it used against me, and literally every time I play against this deck, no matter what deck I'm playing, it's a reasonably difficult match. Like even like my best match, the worst matchup that this deck can go against is Blooming Dash Blade Dancer. It's literally the only thing that it's bad against. Because every time I use any other deck, if I don't have Mermaid, I just die. When I have no way of protecting my units with Mermaid and with Portal Keeper, I just die. He's running a Knight Statue with Barrier, which is a problem. And he has an Inquisitor with the Shield of Faith that just keeps regenerating. But see, it's not even about that. It's more so about the fact that he doesn't care about most of his units. He lives off of one Dark Inquisitor for most of this game. And then the next time I basically looked up off of the screen, because I'm only focusing on my own board, really. I'm really only focusing on my one board, especially since I don't have Snowflake, and I don't have Sharpshooter. When you run Sharpshooter and Snowflake, you have the ability to wait for the Sharpshooter to hit all the units, getting rid of shields, and then you Snowflake, and then you send Shamans. That's how it's supposed to work. But even with this, all you have to do, or it feels like all you have to do, is just fill your board with useless units, and Shamans hit it, and then you just merge them out of the way, and you're good. But every single time I ever play against this deck, I don't know, it just feels like, unless I'm running Mermaid, I just die. Like, I've run Floral Frenzy against this deck, and I usually just, if I'm not running Mermaid and I'm running Gadget, I usually just surrender. I've played so many games against Robot Shaman, and I literally, if I don't have Mermaid, I just lose. The oppression that Robot has, stunning your units, and then, getting, like, Snowflaked, and getting, not even, like, a Max Frost or anything. I'm just talking about literally this setup, with the Snowflake instead, and I die. And every single time I try to play it against other decks, I can never win with this deck. So I'm going to show you 2 games that I lose, and I feel like I like doing this to extend some points that even if there's a deck that like all of the pro people are using, even if there's a deck that you think should be like an easy win, there are no easy wins in this game. Like, you have to have, like, max units at a certain point in this game, like, as you progress through this game. Like, when you don't have, like, all of the, like, every unit unlocked, you probably don't need to run a max deck to win, right? I'm not talking about people who are main decking Engineer as their main damage dealer. I'm talking about, like, once you get a singular max unit, from that point on, as you progress through this game, from your first max DPS unit that you can obtain, you will always need the best deck. You just have to run your best deck. You can't run fun decks. You can't run troll decks. They just don't work anymore. And I find that every time I try to run anything that's not my best deck, I will basically just lose. Or at the very least, I will lose more games than I win. And as much as I love streaming, and this isn't like this isn't an announcement to say that I'm not gonna stream anymore, but as much as I love streaming, I feel like it gets a little boring, because the only deck that I feel like I can use is my Blooming Dash Blade Dancer deck. And until I get more max DPS units, I don't feel like I can actively use any other deck, because I will just lose. Because it's gotten to the point where even at 5225, I'm still facing against people with max decks. People with a max DPS unit. And even if the rest of their cards aren't maxed cards, in this case, both of them are, but even in the case that the rest of their units aren't maxed, the fact that I would be trying to run a level 13 robot, which again, isn't terrible. Like, 15 is adding you damage, but it's not adding you anything else other than that. And you're not specifically trying to win the damage race with this deck. You're trying to, to lock them out. And I can't even do that. And so the fact that I can't even do that and that's the only reason for this deck's existence, like if you can't, when every single time you shaman, you have to summon in 2 units in order to maybe take one of their units down. So even if it succeeds, you're down a card. You're down a summon, and your summons are now going to become more and more and, like worse and worse and worse for you as the game progresses. Even if it goes through. And if it doesn't go through, and if enough of them don't go through, then you're not really doing anything. The next point that I looked up and looked at his deck, he had a level 5 Inquisitor, and then he had this level 4 Knight statue next to it. And it felt like the entire game, as many shamans as I was sending, it didn't matter. And it wasn't doing anything. I'm obviously not going to outdamage a damage deck with a lesser, a sub level 15 legendary. And so essentially I just lose. And if your shamans don't do anything, if you're not actively killing units or -1ing units, because even if you do, like I said, you just wasted 2 summon-ins in order to -1 one of their units. And so they lost 1 where you lost 2. Even though you technically have another unit, you are down a unit because it took you 2 summon-ins to do it. And it just feels like whenever anybody says oh, I hate Robot Shaman, or I hate Shaman, it's such a broken card, I'm just go ahead and use it. Try using it. I feel like it's only broken when it's being used against you, and every time you decide to use it, it's not good at all. It just doesn't work. You will go up against your worst matches. You will go up against a player who is playing Dark Inquisitor, Mermaid, Barrier, Knight Statue, and then Dryads that they can automatically just level up everything else that has shields. You'll play against Blooming Dash, Blade Dancer. You will just play against your worst matchups. You will play the mirror match where you get less shamans than they do, and then every time you shaman them, they're just infinitely shamaning you back. I play against a deck that I was almost positive that I should win, and it's this next battle. And I play against Max Cultist, and I don't even think he's running Shaman. I think it was just Max Cultist and nothing. And I was pretty sure he had a more than level 5 Mermaid. He had a level 1 Mermaid. He was rocking a level 1 Mermaid. And I was doing the best version of this setup. I was doing Snowflake, Robot, Shaman, Sharpshooter, and it was Harley Quinn. And I was just let's go. I'm gonna freeze out all of his units. I can stun all of his guys. This is gonna be amazing. I was doing nothing the whole game. We get to double bosses or something, and I was doing nothing. I looked up, and his entire board was just, it was like he was playing Monk. It was honestly like he was playing Monk, and he was just he just had a full board, he was literally just using Cultist Cleanse, and just leaving Cultists on the corners, and then when I would shaman him, it would hit a quarter, so then he would just not care about it. He had so much on the field that I was just doing nothing about, and it was crazy. And I'm posting this to say that there is if you think that this game has a deck that is an easy win, that's not just Riding Hood or Demon Hunter, there's some toxic version of a deck that you can just easily win with. Those decks are very far in the future. It's decks like the one that I just described. Because like I said, I was at 52-21, and I was 4 points away. I was literally 1 win away from getting that legendary. And this was my first battle, which I lose. My second battle was against Necromancer. It was the maxed out Necromancer toxic deck, which I definitely had no way of winning. And then, so that puts me like two losses behind. And then my last battle was against Cultist that I thought I was gonna win. And like midway through the game when I looked up, I was just like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna win this either. And so I'm posting this to say that, well, one, even though YouTubers feel like they need to always post wins, like that's like the content that most people want to like see. They want to see like people play like some ridiculous deck that beat some other ridiculous deck, right? Like, oh, I just beat Demon Hunter with my Archer deck. I just beat Riding Hood with my Wind Archer deck. Like, I feel like most people just want to see that. He's running level 1 Mermaid, double counterspell. He doesn't have faction bonuses on either counterspell. But I have been told by Small Shamer, he said that, even though, counterspell says on kill with a light faction, apparently if you even hit something, like a boss or mini boss with a light faction unit, even if you don't kill it with the light faction unit, you'll still get the effects of a counterspell. I don't know if that comes into play. I don't pay attention to his board a lot, but like he's running a max cultist with a cleansing sacrifice. And that's pretty much it. I was very positive I was going to win this. I was very positive that this meant every single one of my hits would hit. And that's what you want with as a shaman deck. You just want all of your shamans to hit things. And so I just really hard focused Harlequinning shamans until like mid game, where he had like triple like cultist setup, and I realized I was doing nothing. That I then switched to Harlequinning robots. And I tried to, because at that point now you have to play the long game, but this deck has no long game. Like, it has no, like, yes, you can go up to 80 merges, but like, especially since I don't have the damage off of the 15, like, Shaman just becomes basically a dead card. Like, when you're not doing anything with Shaman, it just becomes a dead card. That now, at that point, you're just summoning in 2 cards to do nothing. You're wasting 2 summons to do nothing. I'm not adding damage to anything. I don't have any kind of support card that increases my damage. I don't have a level 15 version of this card. I don't have a hero that's basically doing any significant damage. And so, and I think I just get really unlucky, like, shaman hits maybe in the beginning. But even that, like, it just, like, the whole game, it just felt like nothing I did mattered. And I feel like a lot of, like, YouTubers, to go back to my point, I feel like a lot of YouTubers tend to, and for obvious reason, they tend to post all of their wins, like, oh, I just beat this deck with this deck. I just completely killed this deck. Oh, watch till the end of this video, I might win with this deck. And then, like, maybe that is, like, their loss video. I'm gonna post this specifically to say that there are no easy wins in this game. Like, if you are not running your best deck, you are at a significant disadvantage. If you are not playing with the best thing that you have, the best thing that the highest caliber thing that you have worked towards for the entirety of your playthrough, if you are not playing with that, it's very difficult to make, or it's very difficult to play anything else. And even though I like streaming, I feel like whenever I stream, I have to play Blooming Dash Blade Dancer, because that is the only, like, max level thing that I've worked towards right now. And it's, I understand that will probably get boring after a while of me playing, like, the same deck. So as much as I would like to make, like, I would like to do lives and play random decks, the game is now getting to the point where I can't. I have to play the best deck, or else it's just very obvious that I'm going to lose. Like if I decided to run Crystalmancer to show off Crystalmancer talents against this, or I wanted to run Portal Mage to showcase how good Portal Mage is, Portal Mage would not look good against anything. It's not great. I think it's good in one deck. It's like the Meteor Minotaur deck. I think that deck is running it. I don't think any other deck is running it. But even like sub level 15s, like a level 13 even. I like, as much as I would like to run my level 14 Inquisitor, I don't feel like I can do that either, because I've tried it, and my thoughts on Inquisitor were my original thoughts on Inquisitor. I think that it becomes really good at 11, but between 11 and 14, it feels like there is no change. You will not, because you will be going up against level 15s, level 15 Cultist, level 15 Blade Dancer, level 15 Demon Hunter, and your 12, 13, 14 are not going to beat those decks if those decks are maxed out. It's like the 15 talent and the boost in damage. The 15 talent is so overpoweringly good that it jumps so high, but from 12, 13, 14, there's like almost no change. You will not even notice a change when you get the 13 talent. And so even if I wanted to run that, I would still get beaten by anything that was a level 15, and then I would just look at myself and be like, wow, why didn't I just play Blooming Dash Blade Dancer? At which point, I have to keep playing that in order to win. And I feel like that'll get boring, or has probably gotten boring after a while. But yeah, this is just to showcase that this is why I don't stream as much. Unless I really want to, like, showcase something. That's the reason why it's become very difficult for me to want to stream. And I trust that most people will, like, say, oh, I would watch it anyway, it doesn't matter what you play, you can play Blooming Dash Blade Dancer, you're the only person that probably even, like, supports that deck. But, I don't know, I guess for me, it becomes boring. Which is why I switched to Robot Shaman, and thought that I could eke out one win, and then lost, and then proceeded to lose 3 in a row. But yeah, look at this guy's board. Like, I'm doing literal nothing to this guy. I hit a Shaman, and it hits his level 2. And he still has it, and it doesn't matter. And I'm stunning him, and it doesn't matter. I'm not dealing damage quick enough to bosses to where the stun will matter. Because if you can't deal damage quicker than your opponent, and your opponent kills both bosses before you even kill the first boss, then Sharpshooter doesn't matter during boss rounds. I'm getting rid of shields, but, like, it doesn't matter. I froze out his middle one, but he still has the other 2, and it doesn't matter. There you go. I hit the middle. Oh, he cleansed. He just got hit with a red guy, and that didn't matter. Like, he still has centers that are 2 level 3s and a level 4. Like, we're not late into the game to where he needs, like, any kind of extra power at all. And that's one of the main reasons why Shaman decks don't really work anymore. This kind of toxic deck doesn't work. Like, unless you're using, like, a Max Frost with the Frost King ability, unless you're using Snowflake with a level 15 ability, like, unless you have a Necromancer, like, you have to have more definitive ways of dealing with their units, which is why Sea Dog is so good. The ghost that it sends out hits through shields. It hits through mermaid, and the effect happens regardless of what they do, is what I'm trying to say. When you're using shaman and they have the ability to react to it by either not caring about the unit or using mermaid or using a cleanse, the fact that they have the ability to do something about it is why shaman isn't that great. It's probably why robot has changed to robot clock, but I feel like for when you're going to use robot clock, it needs to be higher than, I think I have like a level 9, because I just haven't even tried to upgrade it, because the difference in clock's ability to be good is entirely dependent on its level. Because it only does the one thing, and it just does it better and better and better over the course of time, over the course of levels, it needs to be at max level, because then that's just another thing that you're going up against. You can have a max robot, but if you have like a level 7 clock, the clock isn't doing enough without it being a level 15. Like, those extra levels in between are giving you so much more benefit, and the fact that that if you have it at less, it just doesn't do enough. You could have like a field of you know, full level 6 clocks, and it would probably not do all that much to your opponent. Whereas you could probably get the same effect from like 4 level 4s at 15, and it's just easier to do. But yeah, this is to say that every battle that I ever play, I don't always win. And I also hate PvP.